Hello, so welcome to week 4 of the Wellbeing Atelier's Mindfulness, Wellbeing for Mindfulness series. This week we're going to be exploring staying present, allowing and letting be. But to begin with, I wanted to just check in around the home practice for this week, where we explored mindful movement, incorporating an everyday mindfulness, and another one, I don't know how you got on with that, the unpleasant experiences calendar, and then 3 times the 3-minute breathing space. So for those of you watching this recording at home in your own time, I would be really interested to know how you got on. We're halfway through the course now, so if you could spare the time to send me an email or a direct message via your social media platform of choice, although of course I'm not on WhatsApp, so apologies for that one. Just to let me know how you're getting on, how you're finding things, is anything coming up, how are you taking care of yourself, and yeah, so I would love to hear your feedback around that, so do get in touch. So we're going to move into a discussion within the live group now, so I'm not going to record that, so I'm going to press pause, and I invite you to maybe spend 5 minutes writing out something for me or sending me a voice note or something, and yeah, looking forward to hearing that. Okay, so I'm going to pause the recording for our live audience. Can you hear that? Does that say recording in progress? Okay. Okay, so we're moving into a sitting practice. So setting yourself up in whatever way you need to be comfortable. So if you are going to be sitting, ideally you want your hips higher than your knees and your feet flat on the floor. You can of course do this lying down. So there's no right or wrong way of doing any of these practices, but the idea is to set yourself up in a posture that's going to support you enough to maintain sitting for a long period of time. Obviously the home practice will be a lot shorter than this one. So as always, we'll begin and end with the bow, and there'll be a poem at the end of the practice. So either closing your eyes or focusing on a point on the floor in front of you, I want you to take the time to arrive in your body and set up your posture. So your spine in its natural alignment, perhaps picturing somebody pulling you up by the crown of your head. You want your chin slightly tucked, which elongates the back of the spine and supports the neck, which carries the weight of your head. No mean feet. We're just checking that you've got a solid supported base. Your hips, your feet hip width apart, your hips slightly higher than your knees. And just taking the time to arrive, to feel the points of contact that you're making with the earth, the fabric of your clothes against your skin, the air that touches the exposed skin. And I invite you to take the time to simply notice, how are you? You might have a label, might not. Are you tired? Are you bored? Are you fed up? Are you happy? Are you content? Once you've found that label, just parking it and dropping into the felt sensations of the experience. And now I invite you to bring your attention to your breath. Narrowing your attention to your breath. Perhaps finding a point within the breath that's most vivid for you today. Do you breathe in and breathe out? Is it the nostrils? Is it the back of the throat? Is it the rise and fall of your belly? Can you feel the breath at the back of your ribs or the side of your ribs? Just taking the time to find a point within the breath that's most vivid for you today. That you can focus your attention on. When your mind wanders, which it will, that's what minds do, that you can return your attention to this point of the breath and then bring your focus back to the practice. Knowing that the breath is always there to anchor you throughout the practice. You get distracted. And if the breath doesn't feel like somewhere that you want to be today, finding a point within the body that's neutral, that you can rest your attention on. Your left ear, your right eyebrow, the crown of your head. Something without a juicy story that you can simply bring your attention to anchor in the present moment when you wander off and get distracted, because you're a human. That's what we do. That's what our minds do. And each time we notice that our minds have wandered, we're going to congratulate ourselves for noticing, because that is the key to the practice. That's where the learning happens, where the neural pathways get laid down, in the noticing that we've wandered off. So bringing your attention back to the breath, I invite you to spend a few moments with the in-breath and that point that you found to anchor in, following the flow of the in-breath. What can you notice? What's present for you in this moment? Now turning your attention to your out-breath. If we shine the spotlight of our attention around the different experiences of being in our bodies, of embodying our bodies, dropping into the sensations of what it is to be us in this moment, and in this instant, exploring the out-breath. Bringing an open and kind welcome to our experiences. Now I invite you to bring your attention to the pauses, the spaces between the in-breath and the out-breath, where you're neither breathing in nor breathing out. What can you notice here? And if you can't notice anything, what exactly is that nothingness? The emptiness. And now I invite you to expand your awareness to the whole breath as you breathe in and pause, breathe out and pause, and following the flow. for a few cycles of your breath. So we anchor in the present moment and explore the sensations of what it is to simply be. Being an impartial witness to your experience. Childlike curiosity. And now an invitation to expand your awareness from the breath to include all of the body of you breathing here. What can you notice? Where do you begin and end? The points of contact you're making with the earth, your edges, the softness, the hardness of the bones, the tendons and ligaments, nerves, blood vessels. What is it to be you breathing? What sensations can you notice? Where are they? Knowing within the practice that if you're experiencing sensations that are distracting, uncomfortable, or drawing your attention in a specific way, knowing that you have a few options of how to be with the discomfort, the difficulty. First of all, you can move, weaving the movement into the practice, slowing down the movement, being aware before you make the movement of how your body knows exactly what to do to take care of itself. Weaving the movement into the practice, that it becomes part of the meditation, that it doesn't need to be separate. Noticing the judgment that accompanies the experience, where the mind goes. If it criticise you, judge you, you're not doing it properly, there's something wrong with your body, that you can't sit still. Each time you notice that your mind has wandered off in a story, acknowledging it and returning your attention back to the felt sensations and experiences that you're noticing right now in this moment. And once you've made the movement, perhaps noticing a sense of relief, maybe disappointment that it didn't change anything. And as best you can, bringing your experience to the felt sensations and experiences. Dropping from the mind into the body. And then returning your attention to the breath in the body. The second option is to bring your attention to the sensation. You don't need to go right into the center of it. You can explore the edges. Where is the sensation? Where does it begin and end? Can you be with the edges around the outside? Does the sensation have a shape, a color, a texture, a temperature? Does it move? Dropping into the body as a way of anchoring in the present moment. Our bodies send us messages throughout the day that often go ignored, and we're taking this time to listen and pay attention. Where is the sensation? And what exactly is it? Being curious and interested, being completely open to now, what you're noticing. Perhaps exploring if there's any tension held around the sensation. And if there is, can you let that go? And what's left? If you let go of the tension, the tightening, the bracing, and simply allow the experience to be as it is. You don't need to fix it or change it. You can be with it as it is. Trusting in the validity of your experience. Learning the language of your body. And then thirdly, got the option of being playful with the breath in the way that we've been exploring in the body scan. You can breathe into or around the sensation, directing the breath in whatever manner you feel suits. It could be a soft breath, like placing your mouth against a cold window to create condensation. It could be a firm breath. So you can move. You can explore the sensation. And you can be playful with the breath. Those three options are available to you throughout the practice. Then returning your attention back to the breath and the body. Knowing that you've got those options to explore anything that arises. You breathing in this space. Willing to see everything as if for the first time. Knowing our breath is like snowflake. No two breaths are the same. No two snowflakes are the same. Now, from the breath in the body, I invite you to bring your attention to your experience of sounds as sounds. Not particularly searching for sounds, but allowing them to arrive. That's noticing how the mind labels and creates stories, perhaps images, the sound. And as best you can, each time you notice your mind has wandered, bringing it back to your direct experience of sound. Where do you experience them in the body? Do they move? Do they have a shape, a colour, a texture? As best you can, moving your attention away from the judgment of pleasant or unpleasant. And as best you can, being with your direct experience of sounds. I'm going to press mute on the recording for a few moments to allow you to be with the sounds in your space, being playful and curious, noticing. Where do you experience sounds? Are they curved? Do they move from one side of the body to the other? Are they constant? Being curious and interested in your experience of being with sounds, dropping into the direct body sensations that you notice. Allowing them to be just as they are. Now, moving your attention from sounds to your experience of your breath, narrowing your focus again to the breath as you breathe in, pause, breathe out, pause. And then expanding your awareness to include all of your body, you breathing, sitting here. The Guest House by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. The joy, the depression, the meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honourably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So moving and stretching in whatever way your body feels called to do. And I'm going to pause the recording. So the invitation to those of you who are doing the practice at home is to either sit with or journal around your direct experience of that practice. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've been working on behind the scenes. So mindfulness really is in the doing, and this is going to sort of move into explaining a little bit about the processes that we're working through by attending the sessions and engaging in the home practice. So this week has been around staying present, allowing and letting be. So I nicked this from Pinterest. This body is your home, be kind to it today. So difficult things are part and parcel of life itself. It's how we handle those things that makes the difference between whether they rule our lives or whether we can relate more lightly to them. Becoming more aware of the thoughts, feelings, and body sensations evoked by events gives us the possibility of freeing ourselves from habitual, automatic ways of reacting, so that we can instead mindfully respond in more skillful ways. Regularly practicing sitting meditations gives us many opportunities to notice when we have drifted away from awareness of the moment, to note with a friendly awareness whatever it was that took our attention away, and to gently and firmly bring our attention back to our focus, reconnecting with moment by moment awareness. At other times of the day, deliberately using the breathing space whenever we notice unpleasant feelings or a sense of tightening or holding in the body provides an opportunity to respond rather than react. So one of the things when we're in the sitting practice where the second option is to be with the sensation, I talked through noticing if there's any tension around it. So often when we are under stress, we will tense certain parts of our body as a way of bracing ourselves from harm. So this is our body's way of protecting us. So even in a psychologically stressful situation, our body will tighten and brace, preparing us to run away from the lion, to defend ourselves, to freeze so that we can't be seen. So a very kind of primitive response to a very modern, well, it's not that it's particularly modern to be in psychological distress, but this sort of animalistic way that we can respond to attack, sort of primitive responses. So the internal weather report sea forecast. So our bodies give us very sensitive information about how things are for us at any given moment. And you can determine some part of the body that for you is especially sensitive to stress. So I want you to have a think about this over the next week, of when you're stressed, what does your body do? Do you clench your jaw? Do you furrow your forehead? I was on the tube in London once, and a man had a go at me because I was staring at his girlfriend, and I had absolutely no recollection that I was doing it. I was sitting on the tube relaying something that happened in the day that had stressed me out, and my face, I was reliving it clearly, and although it was mortifying, it was also very helpful, because I was able to then check myself that I was appearing like very aggressive to him and his girlfriend. So yeah, dropping into our bodies and checking in with the sensations, clenching of hands, shoulders up by ears, little things like that can hold tension and can make our experience more stressful and more complicated for ourselves. So having a think about that over the week ahead. And now we're going to move into a responsive breathing space. So you've done the regular breathing space, and this week I am going to invite you to do the responsive breathing space. So this is taking it a little bit further, because we're doing it in times when we need it. So in the supermarket queue, when you're in a rush and the person in front of you gets out their checkbook and all of their coupons and slowly packs their bag, obviously that wouldn't happen in Lidl's, but if those moments where you're like, oh, they're doing it on purpose, this is deliberate, why is this happening right now, I really could do without this, or when you get cut up, is an invitation to, in that moment, use a responsive breathing space. And we'll close with this practice. I'll guide you through that at the end. So, home practice includes the stressful communications diary. So this could be helpful in thinking about your working out your barometer for your body of like where you experience stress. So the idea is to use this as an opportunity to become aware and explore your reactions and the results of different communications. So to begin with, briefly describe the communication, with whom and the subject. So I've chosen a woman. Oh, look, I've forgotten I've done this. Okay, woman jumped in front of me in the queue. I told her off. She then joined the back of the queue. What sensations did you feel in your body, Josephine? Did they change during the communication? That somebody was clutching my throat, heart racing, hot cheeks and chest when I spoke. When she apologized and moved to the back, I felt calmer. So what were your feelings, emotions and moods? Did they change during the communications? I was really annoyed, then relieved when she acknowledged what I said. And what were your thoughts and images? Did they change during the communication? I thought she was rude. She hadn't noticed and apologized straight away. And then I felt a bit embarrassed for myself and her that I'd overreacted. Is this a pattern that you recognize, Josephine? I don't like feeling unnoticed and ignored. So yes, it's definitely a pattern. And what sensations, feelings and emotion thoughts are present now? I feel pleased I stood up for myself, but wish I hadn't shouted, and I'm reliving it a bit. So and now reading that out, I feel a bit embarrassed. So there you go. You can have a go at doing that yourself and be playful. Have fun with it. We're human beings. We don't get stuff right all of the time, much as we wish we would. So at the home practice, so the sitting practice, which will be included in the handout, which I'm going to do in a different format. It's not going to look as fancy, but the links should work. The stressful communications diary, give it a go. Just one communication is enough. I'm going to ask you again to have a go at doing 3-minute breathing spaces 3 times. So this is a great one to do in the morning, at lunch and at dinner. So of practicing dropping into the present moment, just checking with your body, narrowing your attention to your breath, and then expanding your awareness again to include the body. You can do it in 3 parts. It doesn't have to be 3 minutes. It could be 10 seconds per part, just to give it a go and get used to it. Because then when you do need a responsive breathing space, when the woman jumps in front of you in the queue, it comes more easily to you. And it just gives you the opportunity to pause. So we're going to close with this practice. So I want you to bring into your mind's eye something maybe a little bit stressful that's happened today, nothing too juicy, maybe an annoying email or a piece of paperwork that you've got to fill in. So just bringing into mind something a bit annoying. And I want you to park that now and drop into the felt sensations of that experience. What's happening in your thoughts and feelings? What are the bodily sensations that you can notice? You can perhaps identify some words that pop in: labeling, anger, self-critical, frustrated, annoyed. And then dropping into the felt sensations of what exactly they are. Where are they? And now I want you to gently direct your full attention towards your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. You can count the breaths if that's something helpful. When we're stressed, that could be quite grounding. Breathing in, breathing out, counting up to 10, then back to 1. Now I invite you to expand your awareness to include all of the body, all of the sensations that you're experiencing, allowing them to be just as they are. Any sense of discomfort, allowing it to be, dropping into the felt sensation, exploring it, acknowledging it, noting it, recognizing any tension, any resistance. If these sensations are present, you can direct your breath to them, breathing in and breathing out, breathing towards the sensations, being playful with that breath. And then with the out breath, you can say, it's okay. Whatever it is, it's already here. Let me feel it. And then opening your eyes. Of course, if you're doing this in the queue, you might have your eyes open to do this, or staring at a piece of chewing gum in front of you, whatever. So being playful with these techniques, the more we use them, the more the neural pathways in our brain forge these paths so that we can access them in times of stress, difficulty. But the important thing is to be practicing when we're not stressed as well, so that we've got these to draw on. And what's that saying? What we resist persists. So we're learning some techniques to be with ourselves as we are at any moment, the pleasant, the unpleasant, and the mundane. Room for it all. Okay, so as always, if you've got any questions or queries about any of the practices, do reach out. We're at the halfway point. We've done 3 weeks now. So yeah, I'd love to hear how you're getting on. And I will see you next week.